Imagine a tense extraction run in Bungie's new game, Marathon. You and your crew are looting a warehouse where suddenly a muffled voice crackles through the wall. Hey, don't shoot. I'm just here for the extraction. That split-second twist, only possible with proximity chat, instantly amps up the excitement. The next thing you hear from that person is, "How about you?" Then that encounter can turn into something memorable. But Marathon has shut off that possibility. Bungie admits it won't launch with in-map voice proximity chat, citing moderation worries. Fans are furious. One Redditor calls the omission a huge mistake, insisting that proximity chat is mandatory for an extraction shooter to build the community-driven stories that Bungie has promised. In short, Marathon's plans for a social extraction shooter feel compromised when it silences the very social feature fans crave. My name is Hollowtide, and today I want to talk about why proximity chat is needed, as well as a solo mode, and how those two things feed into the success of the viewing experience of Marathon. If you enjoy this video, make sure you leave a like. Let me know your opinions in the comments down below, and subscribe if you want to stay up to date with Marathon content. Another missing ingredient is a true solo mode. Right now, Marathon's matchmaking is built for squads, trios. In fact, Bungie says the game is meant to be played in crews of 3. You can queue alone, but you'll still face 2 full teams of 3 pretty much every time. That means that solo players almost always get outnumbered, and that's a recipe for frustration and not for fun. I read an article from PC Gamer where the writer said, "I've had one unfortunate raid after another, with most ending early by the hand of some guy with a sniper rifle or a squad of 3 bullying me on solo runs. Every time I've wanted to close Marathon and be done with it." Not great praise. For streamers and viewers, solo runs are pure gold. Consider why many popular content creators like Tarkov, Warzone, DMZ, Hunt. As solo players, it's intense, it's unpredictable, and it's also easy to follow on stream. Adding a proper solo queue in Marathon would let content creators jump in without scrambling for a full team, and it lets viewers easily root for their favorite lone wolf. A solo streamer facing off against full teams makes each kill or each escape adrenaline pumping, and audiences love to see one player overcome those odds. I also think that this has relatability. Many casual viewers can only identify with a me versus them type of thought process. It's simpler to explain and cheer a solo run than coordinate explanations of squad tactics. I also think that it provides variety to the game. Solo queue forces random chaotic mashups. And if you have proximity chat, the stream will never know when an enemy player will strike up a conversation or even a dare. I also think that this adds broader appeal to the game. Allowing solo players means more people can play without friends lined up, and that means more streamers covering the game and more viewers turning in. For comparison, Arc Raiders has embraced solo play from the start. It also had a tech test alpha that let lone raiders queue up against other solos, creating endless content moments. In fact, I've seen that many people think that Arc Raider solo mode is the best experience solo-wise out of any extraction shooter, and I think Marathon should follow suit. And by contrast, Arc Raider's playable solos help keep its community active and its streams unpredictable. This goes hand in hand with proximity chat and the fuel for emergent stories in the game. Proximity chat is not just about trash talking. In fact, I think that's a very small fraction of what it is about. It's about creating stories on the fly, especially in a game where there might not be that much story regardless. Fans and myself have noted that removing it leaves every encounter feeling hollow. No pun intended. It makes it hard to understand how it's meant to be this social experience, and if it's competitive by design, but you're incapable of actually speaking to one another. I think that negotiating over the microphone is fun in extraction games, and that's what viewers will tune in to hear. They want to see those negotiations or betrayals or deals. I think without voice chat, interactions flatten out. Without it, the first thing that you want to do when you see somebody is just shoot on sight. There's no story beforehand. You can't offer mercy to somebody after you catch them by surprise. I've seen tons of viral clips from other extraction shooters where random players will form alliances or persuade somebody to stand down. And I think that content creators capitalize on those unscripted moments for content, and it keeps the community involved. And I think Marathon, without it, risked every firefight becoming just a silent shootout, and it's not exactly compelling viewing. I truly believe that proximity chat can only benefit this game and the community and Bungie. The type of scenarios that come up where you hear an enemy plead for mercy or where you joke around, especially in real time, is content gold. And for better or for worse, you have to have that in a game in 2025. I think that Bungie could compromise and offer a quick mute for safety, but I think that silencing every voice just snuffs out the organic storytelling. I think that keeping things optional at the very least is much better than having no option at all. I think it's important to realize what the Arc Raiders Alpha taught us. I think the recent response to it illustrates why Marathon cannot miss these features. While they were two very different versions of an alpha and a tech test, and you can argue forever and ever about which was the right way to go about it and which was the wrong, Arc Raiders rocketed into Twitch's top 10, and I believe that it racked up nearly 6 million hours watched in its first week. In fact, Shroud admitted that Arc Raiders delivered the pulse-pounding tension that Marathon seemingly lacks, that feeling. I didn't have that feeling one time in Marathon. They cooked, says Shroud. I think that Arc Raiders felt new and also exciting. And I think that that world really kept the streamers and content creators, as well as the viewers and other players, engaged. Not to sound all doom and gloom, but by contrast, I believe Marathon's alpha fizzled quickly. While its alpha was supposed to be under NDA, they removed that, and I don't think that they were ready for the amount of people that wanted to join. I believe that the PC concurrent player count hit around 7,000, but each day it dropped and dropped and dropped. I think that the rapid decline of players should be a red flag for Bungie. Not only were players dropping, but also streamers, and that resulted in a huge drop in Twitch viewership. I've seen comments saying that streamers found Marathon boring or with nothing new or fresh for players to sink their teeth into. I think that the features and also the feel of the game matter enormously. I think that if Marathon wants to keep those numbers, it needs to hook the audience. And I think it's important to note that we should highlight that Arc Raiders included the very hooks Marathon is skipping out on. I think with these funny moments and unexpected storytelling plot lines, that viewers see it, clip it, and the hype continues to grow, and that kind of free publicity is truly priceless. We've already talked about how Marathon is supposed to be a trio game, balanced for that. It's been pointed out that if there was a solo queue mode that most players would play as Void due to the invisibility factor. But I think that that goes even deeper in that you need to create other characters that give you a reason to want to pick them over Void. But again, I think the game desperately needs a solo queue functionality. I do believe that numbers and analytics speak for themselves, and while you can change numbers to fit whatever narrative that you want to showcase, I believe that Arc Raiders' emphasis on replayable progression and that organic type of storytelling meant that viewers could watch multiple streams and learn something or see something new. And I believe that Marathon falls flat in that area. In summary, Marathon stands to gain vastly by embracing solo mode and the proximity chat feature. I think that they unlock the unpredictable, emergent moments that make extraction shooters thrilling to watch. I believe that solo play gives streamers and other content creators agency and agony that the audience love. Proximity chat turns random encounters into living narratives. Bungie should notice that their competitors have shown how valuable these elements are. I understand that it may require effort to moderate the voice chat, but the alternative is just having that audience and player base tune out. I don't believe that toxicity is cured by silence. And I think instead of playing it safe and sacrificing social dynamics, Bungie could implement simple safety measures and reap the reward of a more vibrant stream scene. If Bungie wants Marathon to be more than a quiet loot and shoot simulator, it needs to empower players and streamers to talk and survive on their own. With solo and proximity chat, Marathon could ignite those unforgettable moments. Without them, it risks becoming the boring shooter that viewers forget. The difference between a flop and a breakout hit might just be a microphone toggle and a join solo queue option. That's going to do it for the video. I hope you enjoyed. If you made it this far, comment down below. 26.2. I believe that's the marathon actual distance. And I will see you all in the next video. Peace.